Hey everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel, where today I'm going to be doing a video in my car talking about a lot of compulsions and triggers that people deal with. Hit and run OCD, the fear of losing control. It's not just the harm OCD aspect. You have that, that's a large piece, aka the hit and run. You also have just a general sense of losing control on the road, driving in a busy setting like a highway. I mean, there are probably a couple hundred people I have worked with, minimum, who have severe driving fears or don't drive at all. And it's not that they live in a place where they don't need to have a car because it's so expensive, like they're living in the smack in the middle of New York City or something. They live in an area where they could have their license, they can be driving, but they put it off because they have too many things holding them back. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below, let me know what you think of this video, and again, comment down below because it's important for the engagement in the community. The channel is growing at a rapid pace. If you want to get access to our one-to-one or webinar services, that's how you come to a one-to-one. That's how you get into the... If you want to get access to the WhatsApp groups, you come to a one-to-one or a webinar, and that's by emailing Phil. Said that backwards. Okay, so obviously the big ones are standard hit and run. And there's a lot of compulsions that people will do. The biggest ones, the biggest avoidance behaviors is outright no more driving, which is really sad. And they'll take jobs from home. They'll quit their careers. They'll move to places where they don't need cars. I mean, they'll wrap their whole life around it, which doesn't work to make OCD go away. It just goes in different areas. After that, the next stage down would be they are driving, but they're doing hours of compulsions. So maybe they hit the bump in the road, they're re-driving over that block 40, 50, 60, 100 times, sometimes being late to meetings, having to cancel meetings, not just leave it, literally missing all their appointments because they're going around in circles over and over and over again. They're constantly checking their mirrors and everything. A step below that is a piece of that more than likely, and this is just something I'm making up in the spot, but they are maybe hit a bump, maybe they check once or twice, they've got that down, and they're going places, but they're still checking their mirror a lot. They're looking for the right amount of time, which, by the way, there is no correct answer to that. What's the correct amount of time to look at your windows and stuff or your mirrors? There's no answer. As the fear comes down and you know that there's no right or wrong with that, you could just check whenever you want to check. Like I could check this mirror every 5 seconds for a whole entire hour drive. Without, maybe I get a headache by doing that, but it's not going to cause any sort of a cycle, I'd imagine, because the fear isn't there. So the first thing that we have to look at is what is the belief system behind it? Is it the fear of harming someone and forgetting? Is it the fear of just standard hitting someone and going to jail forever? So you are going to have to look at your belief systems, and this is where the book Stubbornly Refuse comes in to breaking down those fears. So that is very important. The next thing you have to do is really be methodical about the outward compulsions that you're doing, and not so much the mirror checking. Like, yes, if you're checking your mirror every 5 seconds or something like that, you're going to have to say, okay, there's no correct amount of ways to check the mirror, but let me go forward a little bit without checking that much and wearing that urge. So as I'm making this video right now, I can see the mirrors out of my peripheral. That's going to feel really strong. I call it the lasso effect. It's like you're being lassoed and it's just pulling you to look. That's going to feel very strong for a long time. And the other part that people are very afraid of is the danger part and irresponsibility to themselves. Nick, I'm suffering so badly. It's so irresponsible for me to be driving. I should not be driving. Well, you're going to have to take that risk anyway. Because if you don't take that risk, you're never going to drive again. And OCD tends to box your life in more and more and more. So when you're looking at those worst case scenarios where the shame and the guilt or the anxiety is there, you have to look at, you're going to have to take risk. Okay, because it all comes down to rejection. Maybe you do miss something. And maybe because you missed something, you injured someone. You did hit someone and you forgot about it. And that would be a tragic scenario. We have to look at the realities. It's not the goal with hit and run OCD or the fear of losing control isn't to get somewhere where, the person never feels anything. If I was to run over someone, let's say someone runs out in front of me and I run over a kid, the chances of that affecting me are very, very high. So it's not about, when you're stuck with something like hit and run, you look at someone like myself and you think, wow, there's a bliss state, like they have no frustration on the road. That's not what it is. It's the over-exaggeration and the overreaction, because you never know. I actually saw an article yesterday. There's a big Facebook group. It's like a news group in any city you live in. One here in Colorado Springs has like 55 or 60,000 members. And someone posted in there yesterday about there being a pedestrian that was dead in the road. And I think they said they had a tarp over him so maybe that person ran out. Maybe they were homeless and they were maybe unfortunately not aware of their situation, and they walked in front of traffic and they got killed. This happened to a good friend of mine here. Her best friend walked out in front of traffic, and her life was taken about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I gave my condolences. So you never know what's going to happen with that. But it's the over-exaggeration reaction of, this is the absolute worst thing ever. There is nothing worse than that. And you can always make an argument for that. Like, well, Nick, I do think it's the worst thing ever. Well, even if you think it's the worst thing ever, you're still going to want to apply some level of acceptance over a long period of time. There's a lot of things I think are really bad, but because my unconditional acceptance is very good right now, I've been able to break those things down and realize if those things did happen, it wouldn't warrant the chronic shame, guilt, depression, anxiety, and so forth that people believe it comes with, right? So, but when you're in the car, for an example, you just need to be very aware of what you're doing. You have to realize, okay, when I get into my car, when I first sit in my car, how does it feel? Well, if you have these things, it's going to feel like a battleground. So you have to realize that that's going to be there for a very long time as you're going about your life. So as you're driving for a long time, it's going to feel that extreme fight or flight as you're bringing down your compulsions and as you're breaking your beliefs down on paper. Now, in the moment, you don't have to be breaking things down every second, but if you get in the car and you say, okay, look, today I'm going to try my best to not engage in any compulsions. The chances are statistically quite high that I might do 1 or 2 because I've been doing them for a long time, but I'm going to try my best. So you get in the car and your anxiety is already shooting. So you press the start button, you start backing up. As soon as you back up, maybe you hit a little bit of a bump in your driveway, and it begins. And again, it's going to be like that for a long time. The main things that matter in the beginning is not circling the blocks over and over again, getting comfortable with taking new routes. That's one thing that a lot of people do that's not really talked about. They'll take the same route over and over and over again, and they won't adventure out. So I tell people, why don't you get in your car, drive 20 miles up the highway or 40 kilometers up the highway, up and down, and just come back. And people do not want to do that. Drive to a new city. No, I can't do it. It's so bad. There's never going to be a right time to do these things, so you're going to have to take a risk and make those happen. And that's such an important piece of the recovery journey. But whilst you are going about this, it is so important to realize that you are going to be triggered for a very long time. And I mean a very, very long time whilst you're doing that. Again, I want to kind of end it with the mirror situation because that's a tricky one. It's like YouTube. Like, let's say someone's compulsively watching YouTube videos every day for 3 hours. They're going to need a time period where YouTube videos goes away. But the goal is to always have no rules on a lot of different things. Like, I have no rules with my caffeine. Sometimes I have a pre-workout in 1 coffee. Sometimes I have a pre-workout in 5 coffees. Not saying whether that's right or wrong, but I don't have I just decide in the day, like, wow, I had a lot of caffeine yesterday. Maybe the next couple of days, I'll only have maybe like half as much, etc. And not eating those rules. The mirrors are the same way. If you hold rules, remember the statement, don't think about pink elephants. What are you going to think about pink elephants? If you say to yourself, I should not be looking at these mirrors, and you are going to be, the lasso effect is going to be so strong, you're going to be looking at these mirrors all the time. But those things are how it goes. A lot of things don't have a particular right or wrong, but there are things that do have a lot of a wrong. Standard, like, don't do that. Driving over the same street over and over and over again, not good. Not totally avoiding directions, not good. Not venturing out and trying new things on the road, not good. So just think about what it is. Look at your belief systems. You are going to have to break down your worst case scenario, that even if you did do something and you forgot and the police came to your house, you would have to just deal with it, because OCD will not let you off the hook with anything less. Please reach out. Phil at OCDrecovery.com. We are here waiting. That's how you get access again to the WhatsApp groups, which is a great support system, which gets 20, 30, 40 hours of content a month in the groups. That doesn't go anywhere else. No Facebook group, no TikTok, no anything. So you only get that service when you come to the WhatsApp groups. Thank you again. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.